Good morning and welcome. Thank you for joining our office hours this morning. I'm Michael Johnson, one of your course leaders and the practice lead when it comes to the simulations. I'm grateful to be with you this morning. Looking forward to answering questions and working through round 2 of the simulation together. We're going to wait just about 30 more seconds for any remaining participants to join. In the meantime, I'd love for you to hop into the chat and share with me one thing you've learned from Mimic Pro through round 2. What's something you've learned or even liked as you've gone through the simulations? Sonia says she likes the detailed results given on each ad. Sounds like Fernando had some issues with the reports that they received in their email. Fernanda, can you send an email to support@stukent.com? I don't know why it would be that you couldn't open up those reports. That would be great. Rich says long tail keywords are also as good as the high demand ones. Musa, bidding higher than is recommended on keywords with buyer intent is very likely to give you results. Renee shared, I like how you can see if your ads were successful or not. The great thing about a lot of the things that you are all talking about is that these are all features and things that you will see if you were doing pay-per-click advertising in real life. Using the Google Ads platform is very closely simulates what it's like to run actual pay-per-click ads. So I'm glad and happy to hear of your experiences. So thank you. The time that we're going to spend together this morning is actually your time to ask questions and get help for maybe some of the things that you've been struggling with, or maybe you're just wondering about. So Sheila shared that you can't unpublish a landing page if you happen to change your mind, like Sheila did. I've experienced a similar thing that you can publish another one and then just change where it links to, but that's the that's the closest you can get to unpublishing a landing page. So Sonia's asked the question, what are ad impressions versus ad clicks? To answer your question, Sonia, impressions are ads that have been viewed. I will basically look at ad impressions as being like what people saw, and clicks are what people did, which is where they click on the ad and go to the landing page. So that's the difference between impressions and clicks. So Moose has asked the question, what's the best way to improve reach and ROI? Moose, the best way to improve reach, which we would consider impressions and clicks, or even just clicks, is to you really only have 2 buttons you can push to increase reach. You can increase the number of impressions and clicks by adding more keywords and trying to drive more traffic, or you can increase reach if you're going to increase your average position. So what we're looking at when it comes to reach is if your average position is higher than 2, so like average positions 3, 4, 5, 6, something like that, then there's an opportunity for you to increase your bids. And as a result, expand your reach. When it comes to return on investment, that's really where it comes down to improving your conversion rate. So this is where you'll want to look at, if you're getting a lot of clicks and impressions, how can I increase the the conversion. So really, again, you have about 2 different levers you can push there when it comes to ROI. Is you can either add more intent-based keywords that maybe are more likely for people to purchase a product. Specifically, give a couple keywords that are not converting, maybe they're not driving sales. Those are likely to be dropping your return on investment. So you could turn off keywords that aren't converting. You can also, to raise your return on investment, you can, like I said, optimize your landing page, so you can look and see if there's some changes you can make to the landing page that will make it more likely for someone to purchase from you. So I hope that answers. Rohita says, why would ROI be low when revenues and profits high? How can we increase the ROI? Good question. So ROI is basically a ratio. So it compares the investment to the total amount of revenue and profit generated. So when you're trying to increase your ROI, you're basically trying to be more profitable. So the best way to increase your ROI is to try to spend more money where you have a good return and turn off your investment or stop investing on keywords that aren't driving any revenue. Mark has shared, why did I get 0 everything on the email marketing this time for round 2? Mark, the reason why is there is no email marketing for round 2, so you can just ignore that. Rashmi says, I completed the first round last week, was a little late, but office hours helped a lot. How do I start round 2? What are the things to look for? So to start round 2, you're going to log back into Stukent and then click continue. That will take you to round 2. When it comes to things to look for, I have the best experience by doing a couple things. Number 1 is I leave my campaign from round 1 active, and then just take a little bit of the budget and allocate it to the new campaign I'm going to have to do in round 2. So I usually out budget, $2,000 or $3,000 for round 1's campaign, and that leaves me $2,000 or $3,000 to put into round 2's campaign. The second tip I have for you is you have to create a landing page. So think through some of the elements that seem to work in the email campaign. Titles. Titles, descriptions. You will look in the landing page to maybe see the best product to advertise, good margin, things like that. Husanali says, I had an issue about the budget. In round 2, the budget spent was about 50% of the total. What's the problem and how do I solve it? Number 1 is make sure that you have 2 campaigns active. Sometimes that helps with the budget. The other way to increase the total spend and use more of the budget is by increasing the number of keywords and being aggressive with those new products. Mesa Moore says, I got 0 revenue, but I can't understand why. Mesa Moore, can you update, maybe send a ticket on Zendesk using Canvas? You can reach out to me on Canvas. There's the support tab. I'd be more than happy to maybe look into that for you. Mark shares, would you recommend bidding on medium or low competition or high competition keywords? So Mark, I usually like to do a mix. What I have found is that with a mix, I can get a pretty good spread of different types of keywords. I honestly look at the quality of the keyword more than I really look at the competition. I also try really closely to spend money on keywords with a lot of traffic. That seems to work for me. Shaheen says, Everin says, I increased my keywords and bid significantly, optimized my 3 landing pages. The result is that the click-through rate is very good for all the ads. Average position is also very good. Insights tab tells me my bid quality, page relevance, and ad relevance are all very good. And for all my keywords, how despite this, I still could not spend even half my total budget, and I got very low impressions. Can you please tell me why the impression is low, even though I used a significant number of keywords and high bids? Everin, you're not the first person to struggle with this. I think this is honestly the biggest challenge in the simulation, is to use more keywords. And what I found is that if the impression is low and your average, all of those other factors are good, then that tells me that there's probably some different keywords you should add. So not necessarily more keywords, but you will probably want to redo some of your keyword research and add more keywords. Try to look for keywords with a little higher traffic, a little more search volume, and try to tap into more of that intent that users might have. So go ahead and try that in round 3. And if you can find a couple new pockets of keywords, I think you'll be really happy with the results. Still, Savannah says, my average position is below 2, but I still want to increase my reach. What can I do? Some of the other answers we've talked about will work, but my next recommendation is just going to be to add more keywords, try to do more keyword research, and go from there. Mussolini says, for round 3, what exactly is to be done? So there's going to be a list of things that need to be done for round 3, but basically you're going to create a couple more landing pages and optimize your campaigns. Sonia says, what certifications do you recommend for us to be digital marketers? The first and probably most important is to become Google Ads certified. I'm going to share with you a link, Sonia. I'm going to post this in the chat for those of you who can't see this. There is a link in the chat, which will be how to get basically Google Ads certified. That's what I would do, post or following this class. Musa says, what budget should we allocate for previously existing campaigns in round 3 versus newly created ones? You should prioritize your budget for your most profitable and highest return campaigns. It usually works out that I allocate about $2,500 to round 1 campaign, and then I break out the additional budget among round 2 and round 3. The reason is that I found that the round 3 campaign in the round 1 campaign after 3 rounds is actually usually pretty dialed in for me. Georgie says, as I understood, it's trial and error to know what exact keywords as you go through different businesses. Yeah, that's really how Stucand is it's a little trial and error. There's a lot of different keywords you can target. I think you have to kind of learn from the ones that you have active and see how you can build upon that as you go forward. Fatma says, regarding landing pages, may we put exactly the same content as the ads? So you can do that, Fatma, but what I recommend is to also pull some content from a website that sells that product. It's more than fine for you to search for a product name and look at that product page and take some of the content from there for your landing page. Cynthia says, as there are 3 kinds of landing pages, is there any kind of landing pages that give a higher conversion rate, or does it truly depend on the content we use? What I have found is that I kind of like to look at other websites that are selling that same product. I think you'll see a pattern in where they send you for their ads. I found that the product page tends to convert really well. That's what I use in my campaigns. I found that the category pages are a little challenging because I think it gives people too many choices. Leanne says that my average position and click-through rate has improved in round 2, but the conversion rate is actually lower compared to round 1. Should I enhance the choice of my keywords or the copy of the landing page? I would actually do both. I think that there are probably some optimizations you can make on both sides of that and improve your conversion rate. Shanaz says, do we need to use the same 3 products from round 1? I use the same 3 products in round 1, or I use that campaign in my subsequent rounds because I usually spent time turning off keywords that didn't sell or making other optimizations. So by the time I get to round 3, that campaign is usually one of my most profitable campaigns. Abdulaziz says, in a real life scenario, can I use the same keywords in different campaigns or not? I couldn't in Mimic Pro, so I had to delete keywords from ads created in previous campaigns. I wanted to use them again. So Abdulaziz, you actually can use the same products in different campaigns, but it's highly advised for you not to do that. That's called cross-pollination. What it does is it causes confusion in the Google Ads platform where it doesn't know which ads to serve for keywords because you have them multiple times. So I would recommend highly against it and to follow a similar process that you did in Mimic Pro to use those keywords in a different campaign. Catherine says, how many keywords do you suggest per ad group? My ad groups have about 25 per ad group. I just shared some tips for round 3. You should really focus on turning off keywords that didn't drive sales, replace them with new keywords, work on your landing pages, make optimizations, and round 3 really is a place where you can build upon the work in round 1 and 2. Sil Savannah says, in round 3, I paused some keywords in ad groups. When I saw the results, those paused keywords had conversion, so I don't understand what happened. What did I do wrong? That really shouldn't have happened. You might want to reach out to support@stewkent.com because I don't know the answer to that. I'm sorry. I wish I did. Daniela says, are the 3 landing pages published in round 2 linked to the ad groups in round 1 or the ad groups in round 2? You can pick. So I know that doesn't necessarily answer your question, but you can choose where you link them. If you use them as the destination round 1 or round 2. Tatsiana, I think, says, is it important to which product you choose, older model, less popular, or bestseller? I actually think that there's 2 things I look at with a product: number of searches for it. I tend to complete keyword research before I pick the product. And then number 2 is actually the margin, which is, how much profit is generated from a sale. I think that that's probably a more important way to measure. So he says, I'm not clear. Still not clear on how to calculate the total budget to spend once I complete 2 campaigns, as I can see results from round 1, but for round 2, how can I calculate as I still had approximately 600 unspent? There's not really a good way to calculate, Sylvia. If you really want to try to calculate, you could take your average click-through rate and multiply that by the number of searches for the keywords that you've targeted. What I found is that gives you maybe the closest estimate, but it's very difficult. Abdulaziz says, how important is it to renew my Google Ads certification every year? We have all of our employees do that every year, so I think it is very important. Vanessa said, can you please tell us more about getting Google Ads certified? What are the requirements? What do you need to know? Great question. I posted a link which kind of runs through how to get certified. Basically, there's a study guide and there's 5 different quizzes you can take. If you pass a quiz, you're certified. So it's very, very simple. I would check out the link I posted in the chat, and you'll learn more about what you need to do in order to get your certification. Abdulaziz says, when do we start Mimic Social and what is it about? I believe the kickoff for Mimic Social, give me just 1 second to check my calendar, is, let's see, it is August 5th, is the Mimic Social intro. Mimic Social is about mimicking what it's like to run social media ads and posting for a business. So you're going to learn about the different platforms, how to post, how to generate revenue from social media. So it's really cool, and we'll go over that on August 5th. Larry says, why can't I add exact or phrase match in Mimic Pro? I did feel that there are some keywords that I want to get is not available in Mimic Pro, but I'm able to find that in the keywords tool. Larry, this is because it's a simulation. So there's not really a way to do exact or phrase match. That's a limitation of the platform. And the only available keywords because of the simulation are the ones available in the keyword tool on the Mimic Pro interface. So I know it's a little frustrating, but that's just the limitation of trying to create a simulation, because it has to have the other data to know what the results would be from that, that targeting. Abdul Z says, in real life, does the 15 to 20% higher bid over the suggested rule apply in ads other than English? What about display? Abdul Aziz, I have found that to be a good rule of thumb for advertisers who are just entering the auction. What I found is that it's common for a new advertiser to not be able to get enough traffic or volume. Because of this, bidding a little higher helps with those results. Mariana says, does round 3 consider the results of the email campaign? And can we take them off? I don't mean to include the email campaign for round 3, as we can improve its results. Round 3 does not consider the results of the email campaign in round 1. The only thing is you do have to spend the $29 fee to keep your email subscription active. It's just part of the simulation. Georgie says, for those of us who live in the US, can we stop by our company to have a week or 2 apprenticeship to get a feeling of how the business works? If you wanted to trek all the way to Idaho and hang out for a couple of days, I'm sure we'd be happy to point you in the right direction. We don't really have apprenticeships or internship programs for right now, mostly just because we're fully staffed. But if that's something you're interested in, Georgie, feel free to drop me a note or an email. Larry, how many products do you suggest to advertise on in round 3? How many keywords per product do you suggest for round 3? Again, I found that 15 to 20 keywords per ad group is probably about the sweet spot. You could do a little more, a little less, but I think that's a good place to start. I suggest a product with higher margins. If you can skip forward and look at the keyword planner tool and see if there's a lot of searches for that product. I usually look at search volume and margin are my 2 main ways that I try to measure if I should use that product. Tony, round 2 needs to be submitted, I believe, by tomorrow in order for you to appear on the list. So Tony's question is, can we submit round 2 next week and still appear on the list? You can definitely submit it next week and get full points, but you will only appear on the list if you submit it by tomorrow. Daniela says, you said you used the same 3 products from round 1 when you completed the new ad campaign in round 2. Can you explain why and how you're able to use some of the same keywords from round 1? Daniela, I created a new campaign with new products for round 2, but I left my first campaign active. So that way I had like 6 products that were all getting traffic instead of just 3. So I left campaign 1 running, and then I added a new campaign. So I had 2 campaigns generating traffic in round 2. He says, is it better to use the same products as we used in our first campaign? I just leave that campaign active. But I add new products. So that by the time I get to round 3, I have ads for 9 or so products rather than just 3. I have a couple of questions in the chat, and then we're going to wrap this up. Rashmi says, I completed the first round last week, was a little late, but Offstars helped a lot. How do I start round 2? What are the things to look for? You're just going to click continue, go to round 2, and it'll walk you through the process. So just look for creating a landing page is a little challenging for some students. Like I said, the best thing to do is to look at your page titles and the content on that page. I sometimes pull content from other sites to flesh out those landing pages. Svetlana says, I was completely confused with round 2. I have no idea how it works. I can't add new campaigns. I can't really change the old campaigns. The program's not letting me finish the task, and I don't understand what needs to be done. Svetlana, the best thing to do if you're struggling like that is to send an email to support@stukent.com. It's staffed Monday through Saturday, 8 a.m. to 6 p.m. Mountain Standard Time in the US. I would write up a little bit of what your challenge is, and they will help you. It sounds like you might be experiencing some technical issues. So I would definitely reach out to them. Cynthia says, there are 3 kinds of landing pages. Are there a kind that increases the conversion rate? I answered this earlier, but I think that the product page tends to do the best. Tiani says, I didn't realize each round is using previous campaigns. What if I'm not happy with previous campaigns? Are we able to sell the products with other than the 3 we started out with? Yeah, Tiani, if you want to, you're welcome to pause that campaign from round 1. I use it and optimize it in my rounds. So it's up to you how you decide to do that. Svetlana, how do I start a new ad campaign? It creates the new campaigns, lets me dedicate budget, but doesn't let me add keywords. Yeah, you should be able to add keywords, Svetlana. So I would just reach out to support@stukent.com and explain what your issue's been. Tony says, I have a lot of questions. I use around 40 keywords in round 1 for every product. So it's better to use the same products than use the same keywords. Leave that campaign active and then make a new one. So that way, every round you're kind of just building on top of itself. So I think that would help. In my experience, I couldn't have campaigns running simultaneously. It would affect my budget somehow. So I had to stop every previous campaign before running a new one. There are students who have that issue of dual Z's. What I found is that you have to adjust the budget by campaign. So I'm going to post a real quick help article. This will probably help. Sheila says, can you edit an existing landing page? My answer is yes, you can. You should be able to go back and edit that in the landing pages tab in the simulation. Mark says, is it okay if I use the same 3 products for the new campaign? So there were 2 campaigns with the same ad groups and products with a different budget. Mark, you can't do that. You're going to have keywords that you have to do new products if you're going to create a new campaign. Allah says, what's the effect of different languages other than English on selecting keywords? Search has to be the exact same word and language. Typically, yes. You can do some keyword research around that. That's what the Google Keyword Planner is for, that we reviewed in my intro webinar. But you can do that same research. Georgie says, in mailing companies, what is the most important thing in the subject line? Ooh. You need some type of hook. There's a really good article that was posted from round 1. This is a good article I'll share with you. Larry says, I'm aware you mentioned about product landing page out of 3 options. Can you show us which one the product landing page is? I'm a bit lost with this. Let's see here. I just posted an article in the chat on landing pages. I use the hero product page. you'll see an example. The content I add is camera specs, some kind of promotion, all of those would work. Rashmi, you can't use the same keywords across 2 campaigns. You can only use each keyword once. All right, looks like our last question is Svetlana said, what's the suggested browser that runs the simulation best? I use Google Chrome. I found it to be the best. And then lastly, Simone says, my biggest challenge is using my budget. So when we reviewed this in depth at the very beginning of the webinar, really to utilize your budget, you either have to, really the only option you have is to either add new keywords or, make bid adjustments. So I found the best way to utilize your budget is to just have more products and keywords. Renee shares, I'm confused on the landing page versus ad groups. Is this the same? They're very closely related, Renee. The landing page is the destination or where users land when they click. So you set up your landing pages as you're creating those ad groups. Tico, just to clarify for round 2, we created a new campaign to keep the round 1 active. We should create a new ad group for new products. I created the new campaign with the same 3 products plus 1 new product, and I selected different keywords for the same product. So that's one strategy. You can do the same 3 products in the next round, just do different keywords. But I think you'll be better off if you select as many new products as you can. So you can do it that way, but you might get some kind of mixed results. Okay, I think that closes out all the questions that I see. If I didn't get to your question or you don't want to bring it in front of the group, feel free to open up a ticket on Canvas using the support tab. If you select simulation, those will come to me and I will help you any way I can. I know there are a few pending tickets. I'm hoping to get through those today. I've had a lot of them. I hope this was helpful. I hope you all enjoy your day. Best of luck. I think rounds 2 and 3 are really fun because they build on round 1. So let me know if you need anything or if you're having any struggles. Again, I'd be happy to help any way I can. So everyone, have a wonderful day. Thanks for joining. Don't forget, I think there's a survey after we end the meeting. Let me know how I'm doing. But I hope this was very helpful. I know we kind of went quick through questions. So if there's a question you have that I didn't touch on, feel free to reach out to me using the support tab on Canvas. So thanks, everyone. Have a wonderful day.